In the endless black sea of the cosmos, there are mysteries that defy time, logic, and even death itself. Some say the dead do not rest, that their echoes drift through the fabric of space, whispering in signals too faint for the living to hear. And sometimes, they dream. It began with a signal, a whisper from the void. The Lunar Deep Space Array, one of humanity's most advanced listening posts, detected something impossible, an artificial transmission from a world long thought to be dead. The signal pulsed faintly, rhythmic yet broken, as if struggling to be heard across the vast abyss of time. At first, it was dismissed as background noise, a simple echo of some cosmic phenomenon. But as the data was analyzed, it became clear. The signal was structured, it carried meaning, and it was coming from a planet that, by all calculations, had been lifeless for over 1 billion years. The world was called Gathos 9. Once, it had been a jewel of an alien civilization, home to a species known as the Gathari. The remnants of their empire had fascinated archaeologists for centuries. Towering structures of unknown purpose stretched toward the sky, their surfaces inscribed with cryptic glyphs. Machines the size of cities stood silent, their functions lost to time. There were no signs of war, no evidence of disease or catastrophe. One day, they had simply vanished. Their cities remained, their machines remained, but the Gathari themselves were gone. The only clue ever found was a final transmission recovered from one of their satellites, a message transmitted just before their disappearance. It contained a single phrase, "We dreamed, and the void dreamed back." For centuries, no one knew what it meant. Theories ranged from poetic philosophy to warnings of some unknown cosmic event. But now, with the return of the signal, humanity had a chance to finally uncover the truth. A research expedition was assembled: scientists, linguists, exobiologists, and military personnel. They were eager, determined. What they did not know was that the dead world had been waiting for them. When the expedition landed on Gathos 9, they found a planet frozen in time. Dust lay thick over abandoned streets, and alien structures loomed in the eternal silence. But something was wrong. The ruins were not as lifeless as they seemed. Machines that had been dormant for untold ages began to hum with energy. Faint lights flickered in the depths of the alien cities. Strange symbols appeared on their monitors, symbols no one had input. It was as if the planet itself had awakened. Then came the dreams. At first, they were dismissed as side effects of stress or exposure to unknown environmental factors. But one by one, members of the team reported the same experiences. Dreams of vast, impossible landscapes, of towering figures standing in the dark, of whispers in a language no one should understand yet somehow did. The dreams grew more vivid, more intrusive, and then, people began to change. The first to disappear was a linguist named Drive. Renal. One night, he simply walked into the ruins and never returned. His communicator was left behind in his quarters. His equipment remained untouched. Security footage showed him rising from his cot, his expression blank, his eyes unfocused. He walked out of the base without hesitation. Into the dark, into the ruins, and was never seen again. Then, another. A technician was found sitting in the research lab, staring at a blank screen. When his colleagues approached, they realized he wasn't breathing. His eyes were open, his hands were still poised over the keyboard, but his mind was gone. No brain activity, no physical trauma. It was as if something had simply taken him. The team scrambled for answers. The signal was analyzed, decrypted, examined from every angle, and then they understood. The message was not a call for help. It was not a distress beacon. It was a memory, a record of the final moments of the Gathari people. A warning carved into the fabric of space itself. The Gathari had unlocked a secret beyond understanding. They had sought to escape the limits of their flesh, to transcend into a higher plane of existence. They had built a machine to untether their consciousness from their bodies, allowing them to exist as pure thought, free from time, free from decay. It was meant to be their greatest achievement, their ascension, but they didn't realize something was listening. The moment they stepped beyond their physical forms, they were not alone. In the vast and silent void between realities, something else was waiting. A presence without shape, without form, without mercy. It did not speak. It did not think. It only devoured. The Gathari vanished in an instant. Their minds pulled into an abyss from which there was no return. Their bodies were left behind, empty husks that crumbled to dust. But they had not truly disappeared. They were still there, trapped, dreaming. And now, the signal had brought new minds to the feast. The expedition's last transmissions were frantic. The dreams were spreading, becoming more than just hallucinations. Shadows moved where none should be. Shapes flickered at the edges of vision. The whispers grew louder. Those who listened too long became unresponsive. And then, one by one, they were taken. A final message was sent before all contact was lost. A transmission encoded with the same desperate warning the Gathari had left so long ago. Do not listen. Do not dream. Do not answer. Then, silence. The signal from GATHOS 9 has gone quiet again. No one knows if the present still lingers, waiting for new minds to touch its web. But deep space probes still detect something beneath the surface. A presence. Watching. Waiting. Perhaps the dead world has returned to sleep. Perhaps the voices have faded back into the abyss. But if you ever hear a whisper from the void, a voice calling from the darkness between the stars, turn away. Because the dead do not rest. And sometimes, they dream.